He woke up from his sleep, just like any other day. His routine was quiet, almost silent. Most of the time, he wandered off alone, climbing the small hill near the orphanage and sitting there for hours lost in thought. Whenever other children tried to approach him, he grew uneasy. His behavior seemed odd, even unsettling. Before long, the others would run away, frightened by what they could not understand. From behind the window, the head of the orphanage often watched him in silence. Beside her, someone whispered, "Maybe he just hasn't learned to speak yet, but he understands everything we say." One afternoon, the boy's eyes widened with curiosity. He noticed the other children receiving something, small envelopes, carefully placed into their hands. A girl standing nearby leaned closer and explained, "It's a letter from a donor." Without hesitation, she grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the playground, chattering excitedly as she explained what a donor was. Even after night had fallen, the two of them were still together. They sat under a table, a lantern glowing softly between them. With conviction in her voice, the girl said, "I don't need a donor. My mother will come for me. She promised." The next day, during lunch, the boy's name was called. A caretaker stepped forward and handed him a letter. The girl noticed immediately. Her face tightened, tears spilling down her cheeks. She crawled under the table, hiding in despair. The boy followed, crouching carefully beside her. But before he could say a word, she pushed him away, crying, "Go!" Instead, he placed a small biscuit beside her and stayed close, silent but attentive. Through broken words, she finally confessed the truth. "It's been more than 100 days. My mother isn't coming for me." The boy sat quietly behind her, listening to every word. At last, her voice softened, and a faint smile returned to her face. She unfolded the letter and began to read it aloud. As she did, a pressed flower slipped from between the pages, falling gently to the ground. From that day on, the boy continued receiving letters and small gifts. The other children watched with wide eyes, some in admiration, others in envy. Then, one afternoon, while the children were busy washing clothes, a voice echoed across the yard, calling the girl's name. She froze. Then suddenly she dropped everything and ran. There, waiting at the gate, was a woman. The girl threw herself into her arms, crying the word she had been longing to say, "Mother!" The boy stood still, watching from a distance, confused yet unable to look away. Before leaving, the girl pressed her old bag and worn-out shoes into his hands. With bright, tearful eyes, she whispered, "I'm leaving this place. I'll be with my mother now. But you..." She wrapped her arms around him in a final embrace. "You have to be happy, too."